Good evening, everybody. It's Friday, June the 24th. Steve Wellings here for a special impromptu podcast. We're going to be discussing a bit of Klitschko Fury 2, the postponement. Obviously, you've all heard about that by now. And a little bit of Liam Smith as well, breaking news. As predicted by the soothsayer on the podcast, Paul Webber, a few weeks ago, Liam Smith is going to be fighting Canelo out in September. But poor Andy needs a bit of pod therapy, to be honest with you. That's what we've jumped on for now. So I'm going to read an article from Sky Sports. This is the only intro that I have. It says, Tyson Fury says that it's an ankle injury that has forced him to postpone next month's rematch with Vladimir Klitschko. Fury was scheduled to defend his titles on July the 9th against the man he dethroned in 2015. But he posted a social media message on Friday revealing a badly sprained ankle, which means a new date will be agreed further down the line. If you scroll down that article, there's a picture of Fury's ankle. It is pretty badly bruised. This was courtesy of Peter Fury on his Twitter. And then if you carry on down the article, it says, a completely unrelated note, watch Joshua versus Brazil live on Sky Sports box office from the O2 on June 25th. So a bit of product placement there. We can't blame him for that. Andy, as I said, it's a bit of pod therapy for you. You're really cross because
I was.
Well, we were going to get, right, Wilder Povetkin at one point and Klitschko Fury 2 at one point. We've ended up now with Wilder Arreola and Joshua Brazil. We're not going to talk too much about Joshua Brazil because obviously it's tomorrow night and whatever, but let it spill out.
The heavyweight division's back, baby, isn't it? The heavyweight division's back. It's just been bad. I didn't really want to go too bad, mate. I just got the bairn down to sleep just now. She's right above me, so I didn't want to go too mad, but oh, my word. To think if it wasn't for the wife's insisting that we were going to go away to Sweden 2 days after this fight, I was going to go to it. I was actually going to go to it, and I feel absolutely gutted for those that are going to miss out on it now because I think Kurt's of the opinion that this fight might end up in Germany somehow. If it does, it's a big kick in the teeth for any Fury's fans, especially all those guys that's fought to, decent wedge by the way, because a lot of people were saying that the tickets are overpriced or whatever. But I think looking at October date, I didn't really want to go on about it too much, mate, because I just don't want to come across as an out-and-out hater. But looking at the picture, it does look pretty bad, actually, provided it's no makeup, which I don't think it is. But, Fury puts himself in a position, he talks a lot of shit and stuff. He shot on David Haye, he said he would fight with no eyes, no arms, or whatever it is, and he's now had to pull out. I remember he called Klitschko everything under the sun for pulling out with a muscle injury to the stomach or whatever it was, but these things happen, I suppose. It's fucking typical of boxing. As you say, Wilder Povetkin, I was really looking forward to that fight. That's just really kind of like started my downward spiral in this fucking nightmare of boxing just now. And then as you say, the week after that, Golovkin Canelo doesn't happen, which we'll get on to Canelo a wee bit later on. Absolute fucking prick. But as you say, we've got to be thankful. AJ is back in action tomorrow night against a man with bigger tits than my missus. Deontay Wilder's back against a guy who really should be banned for 2 years because he failed a drugs test, regardless if it's marijuana. A 6-month fucking doping fine. 6-month ban for dope, man. Fuck's sake. But it's just tragic, mate. Absolute fucking tragic.
Andy,
nothing in this sport just now. And see if Ward Kovalev falls through, I'm really going to think about jacking it on again, or just do something drastic, man, because it's fucking shit. Fucking terrible.
I think with Arreola, though, I don't think banning him is a sufficient punishment. I think putting him on the Atkins diet would really make him pay and really teach him a lesson. And I don't think he'd ever be on drugs ever again after that.
Yeah.
Kurt, you were thinking about going to this fight. You were considering it, weren't you? Now, Paul has laid out the pricing structure, which was obviously too high. We know that. Eddie was having little digs a couple of days ago on IFL with Coogan. I was actually watching this, saying that there was still 7,000 tickets, or he expected there to be left or whatever. Basically, it wasn't going to be a full house. Things did tend to be overpriced. I do agree with you that if it takes place again, it'll be in Germany or somewhere else. I can't see it coming back to the UK now. Now, obviously, Fury has said a lot of things, as Andy said. Oh, I would run through walls to fight. So-and-so is a pussy, blah, blah, blah. But if the injury is genuine, boxers do talk shit all the time. I can understand why he's postponed this. But Haye 1, Haye 2, regardless of the reasons. Klitschko 1 was postponed. No Klitschko 2. Fury has become a common denominator of pullouts. Now, this is the first time, obviously, he's been the catalyst. But people, is this going to affect people? Is it going to be tainted when it comes to ticket sales in the future when a Tyson Fury is involved?
Paul,
Was this to me? Yeah.
Kurt, yeah.
sorry, mate.
I don't think it's much so Tyson Fury's involved. I think Mr. Frank Warren, if he's involved, you automatically think, fuck paying a ticket till the last day, basically. I mean, I know this is not his promotion, but he's involved. His channel is broadcasting, and he's been trying to promote this fight as well, along with Hennessy, who basically just sits there looking round, doesn't do anything. So Frank's had to take the mantle. But yeah, I booked a hotel and I made sure I got free cancellation because, like I said, it's Frank Warren, and whenever he's involved, you have to be obviously careful. And I mean, Fury, yeah, the injury might be genuine, but David Hayes' injuries were genuine as well. But that didn't stop everyone attacking David Hay. And I can't stand David Hay, but the fact is, people were saying that he cut himself on purpose to avoid Fury. He nearly broke his own arm to avoid Fury. So what we're saying, Tyson Fury's fell over on his fat leg to avoid Vlad Klitschko. I mean, they talk a lot of shit, and the fight's been postponed. But Paul said it the other week. I think Steve, you said something about they were giving away free tickets or offering hotels, dinners, everything to get tickets. Was that a sign that they were struggling? I think it was obviously a sign, and I think you can be as cynical as you want, but this is perfect for the promoters of this show because now they can put the show where it should be in Germany. No matter what anyone says, it sells out there. Vladimir always does. Tyson Fury doesn't sell out. That's just a fact. And for this type of fight, when you've got the number one heavyweight in the world, a British heavyweight who is the best heavyweight right now in the world, defending his titles against one of the most dominant heavyweight champions ever. This fight, you should not be able to go on the website and be able to purchase tickets, no matter how ridiculous the prices are. You should not be able to purchase tickets with 2 weeks to go. This should be sold out. I'm not saying everyone has to be as big as Anthony Joshua, but this fight should be sold out, and it's not. And the fact is, the ridiculous prices are the reason for that. And hopefully now they see sense, but they're so greedy, maybe they won't. But yeah, I mean, it's very convenient to all involved that this fight hasn't gone ahead as planned now. And then what are we thinking if it does go to Germany? What excuses can they bring up for that one? I mean, they're going to have to think of something if it does.
I'm actually quite disappointed, Kurt, because I actually watched, I don't know what you call the Box Nation equivalent of the gloves are off or the face off or whatever it is they do when they all sit around, but I'd heard it was quite amusing. So I actually went on YouTube and watched the gloves are off and saw them sitting together, and Klitschko looked a bit... Yeah, it was nice, Klitschko looked a bit uncomfortable, I thought. That's probably because maybe the chair wasn't being cleaned or something. It looked like...
Box Nation, it was probably a fucking cheap chair from Aldi.
And the worst it is to, we're no longer in the EU to actually, invoke, employment law with regards to ergonomics for your chair, etc., so poor Vlad.
Your sound's going a bit, Andy, but we're not worried about that. I'm just letting you know. But yeah, it did look a bit like John Rawling maybe just cleaned his dinner plates away a couple of seconds earlier and then thrown a tablecloth down or something. But regardless of that, Paul, Kurt's getting a bit cynical, I think, in his old age. I mean, he's going to be claiming next that Andy Lee's pull-out against Billy Joe Saunders in the Big Limerick event was a bit dodgy. I mean, he's really going down the conspiracy theory route here.
I also believe Bush did 9/11 and aliens exist. I mean, these are just crazy conspiracy. I know I'm stupid. I shouldn't involve you in these wacky theories.
Well, the thing is, there's been so many fights, especially in recent years, where and injuries come up, and it's been of real convenience. Injuries do happen, obviously, at various different points during the camp, with especially guys as big as the likes of Tyson Fury. When he's doing these hill sprints and he's doing these runs, I mean, it's very easy to imagine someone going over on an ankle, and when they're 17, 18 stone, if you're going over on that ankle, the damage done, which that image showed, is pretty significant bruising. You have to say, okay, well, it may have happened, but it does strike me as a bit convenient. And the photos, and from what I understand, this injury happened about 10 days ago, and they're basically saying there's not been much improvement. So whether that photo was 10 days old or whether that was a photo taken today, I suppose is the only bit of conspiracy you might have.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't it caught partying with England fans last week as well, and at a nightclub?
That's the thing. So because he knew it was off. Now there were rumblings of a couple of websites had put stories out that there was potentially a problem, and I think they didn't have any evidence about the injury. They were just talking about the fact that yeah, he'd been out in nightclubs. Now, if you know that your fight's off, and he would have known that 8, 9 days ago, then I suppose in his mind there was no reason why he shouldn't go out. The problem is, as always, is tickets remained on sale. Box Nation have spent money promoting this event, which obviously isn't going to happen. Now, the delay for a sprained ankle, I mean, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a thief, but realistically, that should put the fight back, what, 3, 4 weeks at most?
Yeah, but that doesn't look like a sprain though, mate. That looks like it's fucking ligament damage. That's severe swelling by the looks of it.
Well, that's all they're saying. They're saying sprain, and they've been touched, but it might be worse than what it is. I mean, the
The
picture does
angled
look,
picture that I've got really does look like it's badly sprained round about the
yeah.
ankle bone on the left-hand side. The foot's really badly swollen, I think.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, the reverse conspiracy theory is Tyson Fury signed a contract, he's getting paid. Now, if the promoters lose an awful lot of money, well, that's on them. And as much as he's good friends with Mick Hennessy, if Mick Hennessy and K2 lose money, well, that's just the way it is sometimes. Tyson Fury wants to get paid. So I don't necessarily think that the injury's false. I just think it's of a massive convenience. Now, this has happened before. The Frank Warren connection with this fight is purely the fact that it's on Box Nation, obviously, and he's providing the undercard. It's not a Frank Warren Promotions, but he is involved. And we've seen this numerous times before. I mean, Andy Lee, Billy Joe Saunders, David Haye did it with Klitschko when it was the Satanta thing. Remember David Haye come up with this phantom injury, and in reality it was because, yeah, and he had a back injury, never proved it, Dr. Y, never released any medical notes. The real story was that Satanta was obviously going through financial difficulty and they couldn't deliver the fight anymore. But rather than come out and say that, they binned it. It's very rare you'll get like Billy Joe Saunders, Andy Lee coming out and saying there was an injury. There wasn't an injury. They just sold no tickets. But they have to sort of do it in a way to try and save face. And it's a shame, like I said, because as much as, I mean, I'm quite vocal in my criticisms of Fury, and obviously I was very vocal in my criticisms of the first fight. We really need this fight to happen and get out the way one way or the other, because the rest of the division is kind of just sat waiting to find out, right, well, Fury has won. Fury should really go on and fight, the Wilders of this world, but he can't because he's still got to fight Vlad again. And this situation isn't going to change. So we're going to put ourselves back another few weeks. In the meantime, we get served up some rather one-sided, poor heavyweight title fights. We missed out on, as Andy said, the Povetkin fight. So, yeah, it's frustrating, but I will hold my conspiracy. All I know is what I spoke about last week, and it's publicly known, but like I said, one of my friends that works at the arena, and he said the tickets were really struggling to move, and we outlined all the reasons why that was. If they put the show on again, and they just say it's a case of, right, if you've got existing tickets, they'll be valid, I think that would be a major mistake. This is a very good opportunity now for Hennessy to either, one, switch the venue, or B, go on sale again, and then put in a much smarter ticket structure. When I was thinking about listening back when they talked about the ticket prices, part of me said, was it that they were being really greedy, or was it that they're trying to cover a massive cost because they know they haven't got a pay-per-view outlet? And it may have just been that they needed to have a massive gate receipt, and they've done it for not the best of reasons, but they're not doing it just to try and jack customers. But they've got to look at what the model is. They've got to look at getting Sky pay-per-view involved in some way if they want to have it over here. If not, take it to Germany. It will sell a stadium in Germany, and then Hennessy hasn't got to worry about covering the costs of hiring out an arena and everything else. And fans will still go. Tyson Fury's fan base is that strong that they would go over there again.
So no cause for Flanagan Fanner to be carrying this card then, Paul?
Oh, don't, mate.
Well, I feel for the guys, because obviously there's guys on the undercard, Isaac Lowe and Terry Flanagan, that obviously they were expecting to get out and fight, but the undercard was real filler. There's no demand for that show to carry on, as it were. Where in some shows, when you lose that main event, you okay, well, we'll shift it to a smaller show or go ahead without it. It was a dire undercard, and we all know that.
I was actually chatting to somebody on Facebook Messenger chat earlier who's dealt with the Fury camp and it's Mick Hennessy really in the past, and he thought it was strange, not in a conspiracy theory way, but that Tyson was back. It was the Lake District, I think he fell on his ankle, whereas He was training away in Holland, I think, or Belgium or somewhere, and he thought it was strange that he was back for whatever reason. I'm not saying that's anything to do with it. I just wanted to throw that in.
See, the other thing though is, I think Paul said something as well, like he'd been away to some, I don't know, gig or whatever it was. He's not done it then, because there's no way with the state of that foot he's been away to some fucking show without crutches or anything like that. That is not going to take a lot of weight on that foot.
Well, I don't know. I'll have to ask
I mean,
Mrs. Wellings,
think,
nurse that she is, the Chebmeister, see if she'll have a look at the photo and confirm
There you
anything
go.
for her.
You need to get the doc on. The doc will have that all fucking. He'll have the X-rays and everything.
things can look a lot worse than they are as well. You know, anyone that's ever, I mean, I've been fortunate of being as big and clumsy as I am to have had quite a few injuries, and things can look initially much worse than they really are, and especially with things like bruising. Bruising can make a small thing look quite dramatic. And like I said, hopefully this is just, you know, a minor delay. But the Manchester Arena to get on a Saturday night, you know, they book up quite far in advance. And going into the summer holidays now, you've got to think it's always a bit of a grey area. Promoters don't put shows on generally in July and August for that reason. So will it push it back till September, October?
Yeah, possibly. No, that's a good point, I suppose. Sure, kids are flipping covered in bruises all the time. Well, mine are anyway when they won't go to bed. But right, we've got Dave Lowe back on the call. This pod would not be the same without Dave Lowe back on the call. Now, far from me to disclose any information from a private chat, but I thought it was right that I read out Dave's comment earlier when he heard about what was going on here. He says, "I'm ready for the hate pod. This is something I'm always ready for. Fuck Canelo, fuck Stevenson, fuck Povetkin, fuck Heyman, fuck Hearn, fuck Joe Gallagher, fuck Fury's fake ankle fucking injury, fuck exclamation mark." Dave Loback, take it away.
Yeah, I'm really pissed the fuck off with boxing. I'm about to quit and just go full-time UFC fan. I mean, we're talking about the politics and the business and the personalities of guys and what they might decide to do and who they might decide to fight more than we are the fights. I've had about enough of it, really. I mean, this is the third or fourth big disappointment of the year. We had Canelo, Golovkin not getting made, and wow, we just find out like 30 minutes ago he's going to fight Liam Smith. Well, that's just fucking great. Isn't he still 154 pounder?
Yeah, he's going back to 154. He says the fucking ginger tosspot Fanta Bob motherfucking prick.
Canelo shat it, piece of fucking shit. And who else? Povetkin, of course, roiding, so he couldn't fight Wilder, the fat fucking cunt. And now Fury, of course, injured, so we don't get to see that and get that out of the way. So we don't get to see Vlad retired for once and all. And then, of course, like I was hoping against hope. I guess it was a fool's hope, but that Kovalev's call out of Stevenson, where he called him Chickenson and then quacked like a duck, should have been enough to get him in the ring in between Ward and Pascal, but of course it didn't. So Stevenson's also. You see, we also heard rumors about a Broner Pacquiao fight. Now say what you want about.
Please, I would actually want to see a fight and hope and pray that Pacquiao can just fucking flatline that motherfucker.
That would be alright, Andy. I don't think that's too bad, man.
I would be okay with that fight as well. And you see, the thing about Broner is you can say what you want about his personality. Like he's an absolute bellend, as the Brits would say. He's a moron, and he's just stupid in and out of the ring. But at least he takes some chances. Like look at the state of the sport these days. All the biggest stars are not fighting, and even if they do fight, it's guys like Amir Khan. For Canelo, that's shocking opponent. I mean, everyone was like excited for it because it's two big names, but the actual matchup is horrendous.
Dave, see Fury Klitschko too. If Matty was on, you know what he'd be saying? I think he'd be saying we can't actually see anything above the shin of that picture. I don't think it's really Tyson's ankle. Do you think?
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear Kurt with the conspiracy theories. Usually that's Marty.
It's fucking tragic though, man. I mean, as I say, Dave, what you got to hang about for Kovalev Ward? Surely fuck.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch it. Yeah. And I mean, Thurman Porter's a good fight too. Let's hope it doesn't happen. Let's hope it happens. Let's hope we don't get another goddamn injury.
That fight's been overbaked for how? It feels like that fight's been on the gas cooker for like 18 months. You
Yeah,
know,
but
we want to see
still,
Gonzalez against Estrada. We're not going to get that fight because HBO think there's not enough money they can actually throw at it. Well, as you say, Steve, what's HBO doing with boxing just now? Not really very much. PBC are getting the lowest ratings ever since. You know, okay, a couple of shocks on that card last week. It was okay as such, but most of it's shocking. You don't get any backstory. You get fucking fed absolute bollocks from the commentators. Antonio Tarver, this guy's a great fight. I'd pay to see that. Your missus wouldn't fucking like you pay to go and watch a fucking porno, you prick. You're that fucking skint. Who else are we going to get? Inoue, he's hoping to fight at least twice this year. Hopefully, he fucking does the hands hold up. But it's like, if it wasn't for the cruiserweights, every cruiserweight fight this year we've had is fucking delivered, and then some. Even Tony Bellew, now you got to get. He got put on his arse, and he had to get up in front of his own fucking people to win that fight. He had to get up, no matter what. Duradola against Bredis, great fight. The one for France, Kalenga and Dorqua, another great fight. You know, we've got Usyk against Golovkin, probably another, top 10, two top 10 fighters in the fucking sport fighting each other. If it wasn't for the cruiserweights, I would be fucking done with this sport.
I think they've dropped the ball with Porter Thurman. It's too late for a start, and both of them have been inactive. But I think they dropped the ball this week. Apparently, didn't they cancel the media thing or something? There was supposed to be open workouts and everything, and they're questioning why it's in the particular location that it is. And so even when good fights are being made, for whatever reason, that they're being scuppered or they're not being promoted right or whatever. I mean, it's just
with those type of fights, it's just, it's a good fight in itself, but where's it going to lead to? Where's the winner going to go? There's no Pacquiao anymore, and they wouldn't have fought him anyway. Mayweather's gone. The PBC don't usually, it's a rarity to see them putting a fight like that on. Who's the winner going to fight? It's Danny Garcia maybe, but he seems to be like looking for the easiest route possible.
He's going to fight Berto, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with Canelo and like this Liam Smith fight. Why can't they fight Golovkin? But on both sides, you got to say, Tom Loeffler's made the excuses as well, saying, oh, this fight's the biggest in boxing. It can't be done in September. Blah blah blah. We're happy to wait, but they're always happy to wait. Sometimes you just got to put your foot down and say, no, I want this fight. Like Kovalev did with Stevenson. You can't force a guy to fight, but at least show, you're not happy. Just keep stepping aside and taking it. Because Canelo, if he's given the opportunity, he'll fight Liam Smith. He'll fight welterweights. He'll fight junior welterweights for as long as he possibly can.
Absolutely.
And the fans won't call him out on it. To be a fan of this sport, it's the worst sport to be a fan of, because in other sports, the best face the best. In this sport, you got to wait 5 years for the best to face the best, and it's an absolute shit fest. Or you see guys just running and avoiding for all they can. Why this guy has to build himself up to middleweight when he enters the fucking ring, a fat 180 pounds? I mean, come on. But he has to build himself up to middleweight. But in the process of building himself up, he's going to go down and face Liam Smith for the WBO title. Now all of a sudden, the Mexican cares about the shitty Warren Boxing Organisation title. When did they ever care about that before? They're always about WBC. Now all of a sudden the WBO is important. No, the fact is they're cherry picking the easiest title, and it's just not fair play to Liam Smith. He's taking the fight, but Canelo is an absolute disgrace right now.
Do you know the worst thing is as well?
That was quality, mate. Get more hate involved there, though, mate. I want to hear more swearing from you. You're fucking bang on. That WBO title at 154 is 4th division. That's Chris Eubank fucking area material title I'm talking about back in the 80s and 90s.
But you have to also say, I mean, as terrible as Canelo is, and fuck him for disappointing all of us and Mexico and completely lying when he says we don't fuck around in the post-fight. You have to say GGG is not entirely
yeah, I know.
He needs to be a lot more aggressive.
Sorry, Paul, I didn't mean to jump in there. I'm fucking raged. I was actually quite calm at the start. I knew just as I was speaking about it and hearing all you guys talking and stuff, I'm just getting fucking angrier and angrier.
I just want to say,
go on, mate.
I don't know, that Oscar's tweet, that's what really sent the rage going. I mean, this guy tweets out, this stupid stocking-wearing piece of shit tweets out, oh, we've had a discussion and we're going to give you the fight you want, but you're going to have to wait fucking 15 months for it. What a cunt.
Who does that? I mean, listen, I might want to go for a fucking dinner in an Indian restaurant. I'm going to pick and pick within 15 months' time what I'm going to eat. Fucking shocking, man.
Yeah, but
And the thing is, they're just waiting because no, another 15 months, Golovkin gets older. He's maybe showing signs of slippage. He's maybe not got the same drive and determination that he had maybe like 18 months ago because he's maybe made a few bob on that. Maybe he's misses. Maybe he's getting fucking pressure off the wife, type of jacket, and you're getting too old or whatever and stuff. Then bang, you get what you want. They fucking did. Look at Paul Smith against Arthur Abraham. Joe Gallagher, fuck Joe Gallagher by the way, was absolutely, they did say the same thing. Everything was all about timing. They believed Abraham was there for the fucking taking, and guess what? You had 24 rounds, you still couldn't fucking do it. Cherry picking gone wrong. Fucking wankers.
Yeah, I was going to say, the problem is, a lot of people complain that boxing fans are too negative, and people like us are too negative. I think it's the opposite. I think every week we try and stretch to find the positives. You know, we want to be happy, we want to enjoy what we're watching, but something that got me actually was quite weird. I was watching earlier, really randomly, HBO, the documentary they did about Mayweather Pacquiao, the At Last documentary, and there's a line in it where at the press conference, Floyd Mayweather says, this business is all about timing. I think we've got the perfect time. Basically saying, Pacquiao now, years ago was much better than he is. We've got him now when we want him. And for me, it sums up everything that's wrong with the sport. The sport in America is in such a shocking place. And Kevin Iole from Yahoo Sports, who's a bit of an idiot, but he wrote a fantastic article on boxing in America. It's in such a mess. And we have problems over here, but it's dire on that side. And we just getting served up and having to deal with this nonsense every single week. It's painful. I mean, imagine being an American fan and being asked to pay $60 for Canelo Liam Smith. I mean, it's just laughable. And the Golovkin incident with the 15 months thing, I can't think of anything more stupid that I've ever read. Think of all the things that could happen in that time. You know,
think about Paul, sorry to interrupt again, you mate, but see Cotto. Cotto never defended that WBC title for like, what, a year? And Golovkin was mandatory challenger, hence the reason why they make up that silver title or interim fucking bullshit. And then, well, this is Golovkin's fault because he could have pushed the issue because he then took pay-aside money from Cotto so he could fucking fight Canelo. So that's when Golovkin, he took the money for that one, so he takes a bit of shit for that. But then when that fight was fucking over and done with, they should have been right on his arse and giving him fucking shit. And see if I was fucking Golovkin, I would have been on Mexican television calling that guy a little cuno. He's a fucking pussy.
But they're not because they're not motivated. This is the thing. So Gennady Golovkin, as much as he's a fan favourite and really popular, he's going to turn around. He might fight Chris Eubank in September. He'd beat Chris Eubank. He'll fight a couple of other guys. You know, he fought Dominic Wade when Dominic Wade had been arrested and charged with domestic assault and battery, and Tom Loeffler made sure that didn't come out and made it public.
Yeah, that's true.
They're all bastards, man. There's not one side that I go, right. As much as Canelo is majorly at fault and De La Hoya for some of the stupid stuff that he said, all the sides are doing it. Triple G is an active guy. He'll have 3 or 4 fights before next fall. I hate saying fall. It's autumn, stupid Americans. And he'll make a shit ton of money. And then he'll eventually fight Canelo when he's probably a bit too old. But he'll beat him. He'll be on pay-per-view and he'll make an absolute stickload of money. In the meantime, we've had to endure the likes of Liam Smith. No offence to Liam Smith. Really like him really like him. I hope he does it. Do you know what? I'll be buzzing if Liam Smith beats Canelo. He won't, but I'd be desperate for him to win. I want one of them, and I don't even care who it is, I want one of them to lose between now and next autumn. So that fight, even if it still happens, isn't the fight it is. I don't care who it is. And I'm a big Golovkin fan, but because both of them have given the fans this stupid runaround for over a year, and now we've got another 15 months to wait. I hope one of them gets sparked.
Ken, something, you're going to get a lot of shit for that, and see, to be honest, I don't think you deserve it because, see, to be honest, I'm the same opinion. See, fucking Canelo or Cantello. I agree. I didn't want Golovkin to get fucking beat because I think there's still some good fights out there for him if he would move up in weight. But as I say, I'm not an advocate for that. That little bastard Canelo, he has done nothing. He has built a fucking career on fighting up fucking welterweights as a 154. He then goes at one fucking. Well, we all know the stories, right? He's a fucking fraud. And the other thing is, I'm surprised nobody's picked up on it yet. Actually, there was 8 million reasons as to why we've got to wait another 15 fucking months for this fight. You know why? Because he got his arse felt in the fucking courtroom. So he wants to take the fucking easy money because he knows fucking Golovkin will end his fucking career. If not, his fucking goodness, a fucking living, maybe the ability to fucking walk again. So he's got to go make that money back before he goes and takes the fucking line on again. That's the reason why he's doing it. The fucking cuno, pussy.
But what surprises me most, it doesn't surprise me at the fighter. I'm very surprised that the Mexican fans are allowing this and just sitting idly by, cheering on Canelo while he does this. You know, they're the type of fans who, you know, they let their feelings know. Obviously, they'll support their guy to the end, but you know, they'd protest, they'd boo at this guy if they wasn't happy with it. And you know, they want to see the fight. Surely, you know, you can't just be fanboys sitting on the shelf. And I didn't expect that of the Mexican fans, but he's fighting Khan, he's fighting Liam Smith. I don't see anything but sport for him. And I just think they're the ones who would really make the difference in who Canelo fights. But you know, they seem happy with what he's doing. You know, they're happy for a Mexican to be winning and on top, I suppose.
We need some positive shit. We need, like I said, Ward Kovalev. A lot of fans seem to have put their hat on as being right. If this happens, then you know it's something we can really look forward to towards the end of the year. But even that fight, in the meantime, we're going to get Andre Ward versus Alexander Brand. You know, just because Andre Ward fancies earning some money and wants a fight. That nobody wants to see that fight, but we're going to have to endure that fight because if we don't, we won't get the fight we really want. And there is now there's a huge onus on promoters on both sides of the Atlantic to work like the nuts to get these big fights because we're just looking stupid. What honestly, I swear sometimes, and it sounds like a rant. I will shut up, but you just sit there and you try. When I speak to people who don't know much about boxing, so my friends at work who I've got them interested in it, and I try and explain some of the stuff, and they just sit around. I'll explain a situation about why we have 4 middleweight champions and why they aren't fighting each other. And then they'll turn around and just go, well, why? And you've got no answer. And if you try and explain, you sound stupid.
I've just started saying because boxing sucks. It just comes down to that. And really, I mean, it all comes down to money, doesn't it? Because these guys wouldn't, if these guys were forced to take on the bigger names to get the big paydays like they were in the old days, you know, Ali and Joe Frazier, they wouldn't have made that kind of money if they were fighting anyone else. Foreman and Ali, they wouldn't make $5 million apiece for fighting any scrubs. But these days, the guys are so overpaid for doing fuck all. Like Canelo's just confident in making tons of money with this ridiculous Liam Smith fight. Why? Where is that money coming from? Who is paying for it? Who is stupid?
Another question, Dave, is you know, Oscar De La Hoya, when he came out of fucking rehab, his main goal was to get his company back, try and find out which fighters were still under contract, and make the best fight the best. You know, had Bernard Hopkins coming out there as well. I like B-Hop, by the way, but he came out there. You're a B-Hop fan as well. B-Hop came out and he says, we're here to make the best fight the best. Unification fights, fucking blah, 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 blah. And then their top golden goose can't even get in the fucking ring with a legit middleweight. Fucking pussy.
But that's the problem.
How is this
what?
huge punching middleweight in Gennady Golovkin? How is Liam Smith in any shape or form gonna get you in the right, not mindset, but you know, it's not a warm-up fight for someone like Golovkin. It's a step down in terms of a division that he apparently had left, you know, 12 months, 18 months ago. I don't get it.
Can he even make 154 anymore?
I'm sure he claimed he couldn't.
Yeah, he was having to do it at 155 for Angulo and Kirkland.
Dave, whenever all said and done, the fight's been made, whenever they get in the ring together, what's going to happen, in your opinion? How long does it take till Canelo gets him out? Is Smith going to do better than we think? What's going to happen stylistically?
Never even seen Liam Smith fight, so I don't know. I assume he's just a British bum. He's probably an okay Smith brother. I don't know. None of them are that great, you know. None of them are elite level.
Who was the guy? Was it John Thompson? He won the title off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the first 4 rounds of that fight, he was not in the fight, was he? He was getting beaten. He was getting jabbed to death, weren't he? Wasn't looking very good, and he came into it and stopped the guy. You know, and he done well to get through that because after the first 3 or 4 rounds, he was looking second best. This is just about a levels thing, and like I said, you got to say fair play to him. He's taken the fight, but you know, he's been offered a lot of money, just like, well, I mean, not as much as Khan. He's obviously, but same thing with Khan. I mean, these guys, do they really believe they're going to win? I mean, Liam Smith at least has got the weight behind him, you know, unlike Khan, but these guys are just going to go there, and to me, they're just taking the fight because, you know, Warren wants to fight for his guy because he needs a big fight. And
I was going to say, mate, I think that's about the only positive we can take out of this is, you know, we've all shat on Frank I know. Okay, we can shut on Frank. I think Steve, you mentioned all the call-offs of the events stuff, Andy Lee and all that sort of stuff. We've actually been calling out for Liam Smith to get a top opponent. Well, he's apparently got one now, even though he's a fucking dick. It's still a big fight for him. And I say, as you say, Paul, I really hope he pulls it off. I fucking really do, man. It's the only time I'll fucking support probably any. I like Swifty, he's okay. So Liam, I'll be pulling for you, mate. You better do the business against this wee prick.
Well, it's a big step up. It's his first step up into world class, and it's a massive step up into world class for him, really, because he hasn't fought in world class yet.
Steve, you have the title. What are you on about?
No, I don't care about all that. Adam Smith's on the call. That's all I'm worrying about right now. Forget about all the rest of the stuff. Adam, we're talking about two things.
Hello.
I don't know what's going on in the background. Adam, can you hear me?
Better done, mate.
Yeah. What do you think of Canelo fighting Liam Smith?
We're loving it. What do you think?
Well, fair play to him, to be honest. I've tweeted Frank tonight and said, is it at Anfield as promised, but I haven't had a reply yet.
What did Frank say?
I've not had a reply yet. I don't think he's got internet at home.
I'll let you know closer to the date.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's took me. Well, it was kind of, he said that they was trying to make the fight. They've made it. This Golovkin and Canelo. I'd have rather not said what they've said this week. If they said the back end of next year, I'd have rather them said, not at the moment. Not at the moment. Would have been disappointed, obviously, but was already in the disappointment stage because he's vacated the belt or whatever bullshit.
I think Adam's vacated the belt.
He's dropped off there, mate, I think.
Have I been chucked off?
There he's there. No, you dropped off, mate, sorry.
Yeah.
You mentioned Frank Warren and then you got ejected.
Well, on the lawyers have been on.
That's an omen, mate. That's definitely an omen.
Just on the Golovkin Canelo, I think what they've released this week is not helpful. We already was disappointed that he's vacated the belt, that it wasn't happening this year. So why tell us it's happening at the back end of last year? I mean, there's a lot can happen between now and then. Losses or, jail, injury, women, bankruptcy. There's all sorts that can happen. I think we'd be better off saying it's... Well, yeah. So we're already in the disappointment stage, and now that they've announced or suggested it'll be the back end of next year, we're now in the disillusion stage, which I think is worse. We'd have been better off just meandering our way past Liam Smith, past David Lemieux, past whoever it may be, for Golovkin, and then be a pleasant but expected surprise come next year. So. Yeah, Liam Smith, you've got to, he said he wanted it, Frank said he wanted it, and they've got it. Eddie will say that he's been, sacrificed on, on average money in the middle of Vegas somewhere, and no one on Box Nation will watch it in the middle of the night, but, fair enough. And it's an opportunity. Liam Smith is pretty damn good, I think. It's a shame he's not got the opponents, but we're hearing that about everyone, virtually everyone in this country who claims to be a champion other than Tyson Fury, I think. We want to see him in with better people, and we're getting that from Liam Smith. It's a humongous step up from what he's been facing, and I think he will put up more than a good fight. I'm not going to say he's going to win, but I think he'll put up more than a good fight. I want to know what weight it's at, please.
Supposedly 154 for the WBO piece of shit.
Oh, so okay. Well, I think Canelo can make that anyway. But I think Donnie, you was making a point on the pod earlier. To be fair, that the Canelo above 154, his resume is shite. So this is actually this Liam Smith fight is almost on the level of credibility. I'm not comparing the two, but credibility. It's on the level of Trout and Lara and people like that because he is a so-called champion, and he's going to gobble up that belt.
I think Canelo's. I think Smith, even though I haven't seen him, and I always am on us to do more technical boxing analysis. But even though I haven't seen the guy fight ever, I do expect, because he's British and these guys are usually up for it when they do a huge step up in class. I think he's going to give it a go and probably actually win the first couple rounds against Canelo because Canelo's a slow starter with a shitty work rate.
Have you seen Smith?
if you listen to Tony Bellew, Liam Smith's probably, like they say, the most hot-headed out of the whole of the brothers. So if he's in a firefight, he's going to go for it, But
I think
I-
Liam Smith is.
CompuBox ain't going to be needed for those first few rounds. You know, they're going to be after a pen and pencil. That's all.
He's a bit
Yeah, I
like
think
Arthur Abraham, isn't he? The earmuffs up, doesn't really do much at all for the
Yeah, he'll
first
just be
rounds.
standing there.
he's steady.
They're both
He's
the
steady.
same though. They're both the same. They're just going to stand there in the pocket.
That's
They're not
what
going
I'm
to really
saying,
good feet movement or anything like that. It's just going to be basically banging away. There's obviously the left hook of the body is are two signature shots
Yeah.
for each fighter. So they're just going to stand there and fucking trade, hopefully.
I'm more level-headed about Mr. Gallagher than most in our kind of league of fanage. But he's the one. Liam Smith's the one for me that would benefit from a different coach. To be fair, I think he's got more. He's just steady. He's solid. You know, I think he can probably take a punch. He's got an half decent jab, that left hook to the body, etc. His work rate's pretty decent. I think he could actually benefit from going elsewhere, but you know.
That Gallagher rope-a-dope game plan might not serve him that badly because you know Canelo's going to be looking for a stoppage here.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't get it early and Smith is like goading him, he's going to be more and more embarrassed as the fight goes. He may unload a little bit, and we know Canelo's gas tank's a bit shut. So
how is this going to be received in America? Because for me, Carnes wasn't received very well in America. I know he's more known than Liam Smith, significantly so. But at the end of the day, that was a blown-up welterweight. This is worse from an American's perspective. Is Canelo losing credibility?
Well, what's Bob Arum said, Dave? I mean, about he's the third Beth Smith or something.
Well, and I'm one of them that's in front of him as well.
Yeah. Very good. Kurt, didn't you want to shit on Billy Joe Saunders? Because we're getting off in a couple of minutes. Well, I am anyway. You look and do what you want.
Well, yeah, because was it Tom Loeffler who came out talking about Golovkin facing Eubank, and apparently, by what we're seeing anyway, the Eubanks want the fight. You know, and once Senior basically says yes, we know that Junior's going to do what he says, and apparently Senior fancies. It's not just all talk. We've heard him saying a lot. You know, he's got his DNA, all his bollocks, but apparently now he's close to being made. Apparently, so once he gets his fight out of the way on Saturday. And Tom Loeffler wasn't too complimentary on Billy Joe. He said, you know, they've reached out to him, offered him big money, spoke to Frank, totally not interested. So, I mean, what does that say about Billy Joe Saunders? That the guy he beat, you know, he's willing to face, whether you think he's an idiot or not, or whether you think he's got no chance, he's willing to step up. And the guy, you know, who beat him, is, you know, he's fighting garbage, and you know, he's stepping in with the guy, you know, and he wants all this money. And apparently, he's offered $2 million or whatever it was. I don't know, but he's making excuses. I just don't think it's a good look for him.
No, he deserves a lot of criticism, Billy Joe does, and you know he's got a similar profile and makeup of Liam Smith. His defences have been of a high quality, but he's still in the infancies of his so-called world title reign. His profile and sellability and earnability on this side of the pond is, I would say, is reasonably similar to Liam Smith. So he's got no reason to be. It's a clear duck that they want to keep hold of the belt. And really, what Frank's done today by providing this fight for Liam Smith puts the spotlight on Billy Joe for me, and it says that it's Billy Joe that is turning the fight down rather than Frank.
And also, you got to think of someone like Cal Brook, who can't, for love nor money, get a big fight, and yet he's seen his rival can't get the Canelo fight. And now Liam Smith, yeah, we know he's got this title, but you know, it doesn't really mean anything. You know, having all the titles in the world, if you can't sell tickets or you're not a star, you know, we saw that with someone like Regan Day. You can be as good as you want and have all the titles. If you can't sell tickets, no one really cares or wants to fight you. So he can't get the fight.
Home advantage for him. That's what one likes to pride himself on.
Adam, your sound's a bit weird again.
Is that me?
No, not Adam.
That was Andy.
No, sorry, Andy. I meant Andy. Sorry, I'm getting you mixed up.
I'll just say on Eubank, and we're quite good at predictions on the pod recently. We predicted a Fury injury, we predicted a Brexit. So now I'm going to predict that when the Golovkin and Eubank fight doesn't happen anytime soon, the Eubanks will blame Eddie, and Eddie will blame the Eubanks. They'll fall out again, and no one loses face. You can see it a mile.
Well, do you know why it might not happen? Because it looks to me as if Eddie Hearn's got the fight, and I think he's really going to lay it on now and go, right, do you want to fight on pay-per-view against Gennady Golovkin? I've got it for you. And if the Eubanks turn this down, they're going to look absolute... Well, the Senior already is the biggest mug in boxing right now.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming Eddie, Paul, for this one. I'm not blaming Eddie for this.
He looks like he's lined this up. And I think
they'll
that
blame each other.
Yeah, I think Triple G will take it. I think Barry Hearn said something like he's 95% sure that Golovkin will go for it. He's 55% sure that Eubank will. To me, this is what thing that frustrates me, right? Eddie Hearn, for all we dislike about him, he's got the most important boxing contract in the UK. He's got several world champions, several big names. Why he continues to pander to Eubank Senior just so he can get Eubank Junior, who isn't the best middleweight in the country,
Yep.
Let alone the world. I find it very strange, and I know the surname is the pulling power, but the way that Senior behaves and carries on, I wanted Dave Caldwell to clock him.
He's annoyed me for the first time this week, Eubank Senior.
He lost me. He lost me when he was in the ring and he wasn't wearing tracksuit, which is the British Boxing Board of Control rule, and he's there in that cut-off sleeveless suit. No one else can get away with doing that, but he got away with doing it. And when he stood in the ring and just stared at Junior for the full minute and didn't say a word, and then when he comes out and then says after the Blackwell fight all that lies and garbage that people bought, and then he comes this week and basically says the irony of his stupid comment. Ronnie Davis, who is his son's trainer, only won an area title. He never won above that level. It was Ronnie Davis, and Ronnie Davis was a fantastic trainer for Chris Eubank Senior, and he seems to be a pretty good one for Eubank Junior. The irony of how stupid some of that guy's comments come out with is never lost on me. And as well, the worst thing is his son is a talented kid, and you see Junior, and when he talks, he spoke quite nicely about Tom Duran. He was saying that Duran hasn't tried to slag him off and whatnot, but you see him sit there at the top table with his dad. In a way, if that was my dad, I'd be like, Dad, shut up. I'm 20-something. I'm 20-something. Exactly. I'm 20-something years old, and Eubank Senior tries to make out like he's like fucking Dad of the Year. He shipped his kids off to some random American woman when they were a teenager, and he's got another. He's got another son who boxes who he doesn't even speak to.
Potentially some fucking philosopher as well.
Do you think Ronnie Smith though? Ronnie Smith, if he
Ronnie Davis.
Sorry, Ronnie Davis. I'm getting everybody's name wrong. Oh, fucking hell, I should give up, shouldn't I? Do you think if he had any self-respect though, really, he should just say, you know what, I'm off?
Ken something.
Yeah, but
he should. Do you know what he should?
He put up a lot of shit off Senior when he was in his peak of his career, by the way. Eubank treated him like shit, but see, at the same time, there was a lot of loyalty involved there. That's the reason why Davis stuck that out. But I don't know why he's going for it for a second time. Jesus Christ, man.
You've got to give a bit of credit to Mr. Hearn as well, to be fair, because they've given him a job to deliver Eubank. It looks like he's going to deliver it on pay-per-view, potentially in this country. His cards are on the table. He's done what has been asked for. So as Paul was mentioned, he's currently in the driving seat here.
The thing with Ronnie Davis is, for me, I mean, you speak about loyalty, but for me it's either two things. He's either just fucking after the cash money and he doesn't care what a mug they make him out to be, he'll just sit there for the cash, or he's got battered wife fucking syndrome, except it's battered Eubank syndrome. No matter how much they treat him like a cunt, he just keeps going back and fucking licking their ass. I think
he does, isn't it?
He does.
He's a good trainer, man, Kurt. He's a good trainer, and he sits there and he just... And they even insult him like Davis was talking to him in the corner once, and didn't Eubank tell him to shut up or something?
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story about what happened. My sound okay, yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry, a quick story of what happened, right? He was going into a press conference, I think he was in the lift or something. This was when Eubank was fighting, and he was wearing one of those fucking silly jobber fucking suits, and he's got the cane and the monocle with him and all that sort of shit, right? And he drops the cane, and he turns round to Ronnie Davis and says, David, pick up my cane, and walked away. Davis had to fucking bend down and pick it up, and there's fucking Eubank sauntering down the corridor, fucking, nose in the air.
That Eubank impression again?
Sniffing in the air, fucking all that shit, right? And there's Ronnie Davis, an old man running after him with a fucking cane in his hand because he says, David, pick up my cane.
That sounds like Eddie Murphy in Coming to America.
Whatever it is, okay. It's the best I could come up with it.
Man can't.
Eubank's a cunt, but you can see from Hearn's perspective, this is a perfect fight to make because he knows that the relationship with the Eubanks is unstable anyway. So if they go over there and get their asses whooped, which they would, he's cool with that, and he still makes a bit of money on it.
Do you know what? Maybe this is like the ultimate troll revenge from Hearn because Eubanks publicly embarrassed him when they ditched him to go and fight Blackwell. So he gets the pay-per-view fight, Hearn earns loads of money, and Eubanks' career potentially ends. So it might just be the ultimate revenge for jilting Eddie, like some kind of bunny boiler.
I'm nominating him for Bellew of the Week actually for his spiel and his speech at the end of the IAFL interview I got sent the other night. There actually, it was actually quite good the way he just rhymed it off. It was quite funny. That's what Bellew of the Week's all about. So
what have we said about Fury then?
Oh, you need to listen back.
Yeah.
Oh, you
You have
predicted it.
you've got 2 minutes, Adam, and then I'm cutting the call off. So you have your say now on Fury, please.
I'm not really that bothered.
Okay,
Someone,
thank
I
you.
think it
Right,
was Andy. Someone predicted it at the weekend. It was Andy or Paul.
Paul.
The ticket pricing is absolutely out of control. It just boils down to Box Nation again. To be honest with you, and Mick. People all think and say that I'm a Sky or Eddie Hearn fanboy, but it's just what it is. What it is. I just don't know. Does Klitschko really want it? I mean, Fury to me looks like he's been training bloody well. And then, I mean, it does look pretty badly bruised, to be fair. We've seen worse bloody so-called
For what we've been
injuries.
hearing, Adam, the camp's been absolutely dog shit for
Oh,
what we've
sorry.
been hearing.
All right, fair enough.
That's the word. That's the rumour going around anyway. And just.
Yeah.
But saying that, mate, I think the injury looks legit.
It does to me.
It could be make-up. You never know, but.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
But yeah, just the whole, people should care. This is the heavyweight world championship. Forget what Eddie's saying about tomorrow. This is the one. It's happening on our soil. It's happening with one of the greatest heavyweights in terms of defences, etc. Ever. It's happening with a charismatic and divisive and young and pretty damn good English or Irish, whatever he thinks he is today, heavyweight. It should really be selling. It should be at the forefront. It should be what we're talking about. It's only 2 weeks away, but we could see it a mile off. It's Frank's pulled a Frank again. We could see it miles off. What are they going to do? Are they rearranging it, or any news on that?
Don't know yet, but I think that's the worst thing. I think there's been more outrage about Canelo not fighting Golovkin and fighting Liam Smith over this, because most of us saw it coming or expected it at least. It's not like come out of the blue, a shock, and we're all totally, just outraged at it. It's like, well, disappointed, yeah, of course, but we expected it. I mean, as it was getting closer, you just think, well, a week before the fight, it's going to happen now, maybe, but, it's happened now, and no one's really shocked at all, and that's just the sad thing about the sport.
Right, well, I'll let you crack on, Steve, because I'm going to continue my Brexit celebrations.
Excellent stuff, Adam. Thanks for jumping on and joining us.
Cheers.
That's Andy Patterson was on as well alongside Adam Smith, Mr. Kurt Ward. Dave Loback's jumped off as well. He's in a state of depression. Dave's jumped back on again. Not to worry, Dave. We're finishing up now anyway. Paul Webb was on the call as well.
Well, the good news is, guys, don't fear. At 10 o'clock on Sky Sports, you can watch the weigh-in for Joshua Brazil. Then at 10:15, you can watch Joshua's crowning night, followed by Joshua Brazil, the new era, followed by Joshua O2 preview show, followed by the Joshua weigh-in again, and then Sporting Heroes Frank Bruno. That'll keep you going till about 3 a.m. if you want.
So it's good that they got something on Joshua tonight, then, I'll say.
Well, there's just a few, just the 5 shows they've got tonight, and but yeah, roll on tomorrow night, post-fight show, guys. No.
Fuck boxing.
Sky Sports Boxing, they've really been studying Joseph Goebbels, haven't they? The propaganda, just keep brainwashing keep brainwashing.
They should be studying Joseph Parker or somebody with a pulse.
We'll just be waking up tomorrow thinking Joshua's the greatest ever, won't we?
Did you see?
I wake up every day thinking that.
Frotch called him earlier. Frotch called him earlier.
Yeah, I saw that.
What?
That was I had that for Belly of the Week, Adam. Yeah, Frotch called Joseph Parker Peter Parker.
Just leave that till Sunday. Let's get going now.
Speaking of Joseph Goebbels, though, how do y'all feel about the premier who face fucks pigs allegedly resigning?
We ain't got time for that shit.
Tremendous. Fucking great news. At the end of the day,
the world burn.
Well, I'm not going to say too much on it, but because see that pig fucking prick actually, he's getting out at the right time because he's got to negotiate with Scotland, Ireland, and Wales, Northern Ireland, sorry, and he's also then got that. Is there some sort of general election fraud involved in the last election? 15 of them being caught up in that, so he's not going to have to answer for that. So that's him fucking well out it. And guess what? He can take his daughter out of public school and put her in a private school now. The eating toffin prick.
Okay, he's not the only pig fucking prick.
Vote leave. Stand on your own 2 feet.
Finish now, right? Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, YouTube. Leave us a comment, a review, Facebook.
Fuck David Cameron.
Maybe tomorrow night, Paul. Yeah, we might do a post-fight fight tomorrow night.
Post-fight. I'll do a one-man. I'll do a one-man post-fight.
Bye.